What's up, YouTube? It's After Crush back here with you once again. And we're going to be chatting today about the MLS season switch. So, for those of you who don't know, those of you who may be new to MLS, we are going to be seeing a season shift starting in 2027. Originally, the MLS season had started in February and then would run the playoffs through December. But what we'll be seeing in 2027 is the season will be starting in July, August, and then run to May with a month and a half, maybe around 2 months winter break. I believe I said it was going to be from mid-December to mid-February, if my memory serves me correct. So we need to talk about a couple things and pertains to the season switch. The problems that some people seem to have and what I think some of the misconceptions are. So what we're looking at here is MLS switching to a more European-centric schedule. People have complained for years in MLS that incoming and outgoing players are not on the same time frame. If any of you were paying attention a couple years ago, Lionel Messi came into the league in the middle of the season, and that was after the end of the Barcelona season. So the time frame that he came into the league did not match up with the end of Barcelona season. With this change, we are going to be seeing MLS become more in line with European clubs and English clubs, which some people are crying about, but I don't know why they're crying about it when, I would say at least 80% of the fans in MLS want this and have been wanting it for a while. I initially was not in favor of it, but in actually looking up how those seasons operate and the time frame in between each, it has become apparent to me that this is the right move for the league. Not just for player, transfers, but also supporters. Being a Crew fan, we just saw basically club legend Darlington Nagbe retire. But imagine if you have a club legend who is going towards the end of the season, and then he may be making a European shift, or a European star making the shift to MLS. And now you're either getting ready to say goodbye or say hello to somebody who's coming in, and then all of a sudden it just happens. There's no formal goodbye to a player, which, again, for the Crew, Aiden Morris, mid-season, was transferred out. Zilarayan, transferred out. So when we see those kind of mid-season shifts, it screws everything up, right? I mean, nobody wants to see a mid-season trade of a star. We would like to see that happen when there's not such a direct impact on the team. And I think this is going to help that a lot. So that's the first reason that I feel like this is a good option for the league. Speaking of good options for the league, I know a lot of people have been complaining about the actual time frame of the season and talking about competition. It's time that we get away from the whining about the fact that MLS is going to be competing for sport dollars, because MLS has been competing for sport dollars since the beginning of the league. We are now seeing MLS grow beyond even what we could have thought possible 10 years ago. And when we think about the league as a whole now, we, as supporters, have seen this league, I don't want to say come into its own, a more modern scape, because I think we're still on the hunt for that. But the league has seen more respect laid on it within the past 10 years. The league has really seen the teams itself, again, seen with more respect and a little bit more punch than we've seen in quite some time. even when we had teams like the Seattle Sounders becoming massively successful in like international Champions League play, the league was still seen as kind of small fry, right? And now we're seeing the league being taken more seriously. We're seeing the league be paid attention to as the level of play rises. And I've talked in other videos about what I consider to be the typical American mentality and how we treat soccer, and how it has changed, and how the typical American mentality has now almost been relegated to an afterthought instead of the standard of how we feel about American soccer. We take MLS a little bit more seriously now. And I know some of you, NFL and college football heads, are going to laugh at that. And I really don't care, because when you have a league that has expanded teams and has expanded its feeder system to where we have MLS Next Pro, and notwithstanding USL and their efforts to be taken seriously, and how they feel like that they can have a pro rel situation that works for them, I don't agree that it will. That's just my feelings on the matter. Let's be honest here. But they're taking a crack at it, you know? And that shows, at least there's some people who feel like soccer in America is a competitor, not just considered a third-tier sport anymore. And moving to this schedule shows that we want to be taken seriously as a league. You know, the competition excuse, can I call it excuse because people are crying about it? Like, we're already in competition for literally every single other sport throughout the year anyway. Because the way that the league schedule has been set up is that your first couple games are starting in like February, like mid to late February. That's basically playoffs for NFL. And then right in the middle of the season for hockey, right in the middle of the season for basketball. Runs the length of the spring and the summer. Congratulations, you're now in competition with baseball. Goes into the summer months. Congratulations, now you're in competition with college football. And then all of a sudden, but straight into the beginning of NFL, NBA. So when we talk about people complaining that MLS is going to be running into competition with other sports, I don't buy it. Because we've been in this competition with other sports literally since the beginning. If anything, the way that the winter break is going to shake out, it actually ends up giving a little bit of those games, like, you know, college football and NFL into the playoffs, lets them have it a little bit more, right? But I mean, again, it's not like we were going to be directly in competition with the NFL playoffs to begin with. We weren't going to be in competition with the end of the college football season at all anyway, so they can have it anyway. From what I read, I believe it said 91% of the current MLS schedule would basically remain as is. And if you really take a look at the leftover 9% and say that is a huge problem, you're not looking at the bigger picture of how this schedule affects the league. And speaking of affecting the league and the winter months, people complaining about winter month games, and MLS has actually thought about that and has stated that they are going to be shifting a lot of the winter month games to more heated locales. They're going to be shifting a lot of those games south. And I don't mind that. I mean, but you're also talking to a guy that, you know, when MLS starts in mid to late February, I'm there. I live about 45 minutes away from Columbus North. I live in Mansfield. And I make that trek. You know, if it's, you know, Christmas, I do as much as I damn well can to be there. And I see other teams doing the same thing in places like Montreal and Vancouver and Toronto, Seattle and Portland, Cascadia. And people are like, oh, nobody will show up. If you're really going to sit there and tell me that no one's going to show up to a cold weather game, that I don't ever want to hear anybody complain about a cold weather NFL game. Ever. Honest truth. Because if you're going to call into question our want to show up to a game for our team as supporters, then we need to have an actual conversation about how much respect you actually have for the game. Because it's quite obvious that you don't have as much respect as you think you do. So, all of these reasons, and everything I've talked about within the last, 11 minutes, is basically working out to tell you that the league is evolving in a good way. I'm very, very pleased and happy with how the league is actually treating this and how we're actually going to be, it's just not next season, it's going to be 2027. Now, on the side of that, 2027 is also going to be a very weird year for us MLS supporters because we're going to have a mini season. It's supposed to be like a 14-game season to kind of bridge the gap. I was sitting there thinking about this last night. I was going to make this video last night, and I'm like, a 14-game season. It actually just hit me right straight in the brain piece. We'll just treat it like an NFL season, right? I mean, you take a look. I mean, obviously, we just had NFL switch to a 17-game season. But for how long they had a 16-game season, right? And it actually fits, right? We can treat an MLS mini season like an NFL season. Which of course it was 14-game season means we have 7 home games. I'm not really sure how this is going to be affecting our season tickets because I'm a season ticket holder. But, I mean, yeah, it is going to end up being more money for the teams, obviously, because we're getting another mini season, and we're going to also have a mini playoffs and then an MLS Cup. So it's basically like a free 6 months of soccer. Like rolling from 2027 into 2028 is going to be like the best and the weirdest year of soccer for Americans. Actually, the 26 and the 20, because of course we have the World Cup coming here in 2026. So like 2026 going into 2027 and 2028 is going to be super weird for us. Because we're also not going to know what to do with ourselves after May's MLS Cup in 2028. I get to watch more of my crew play. You know? Any excuse that I can go down to Columbus and hang out with 20,000 of my closest friends, I can't be angry with that. I'm going to be there as many games as I possibly can as a season ticket holder. I'm going to be front row center, rocking the Shawshank SC merch. I'm going to be, watching the games as best I can with the new and improved Apple TV with MLS. Season pass is gone. So I'm not upset about these changes. I don't understand why people would want to not have the progression of the game here. Maybe it's just people disliking the fact that there's going to be a change, and they're not happy with the fact that there's going to be a change in general. And maybe most of these people are just not liking that we're making steps to improve when they're just used to the status quo. And to be fair, there are people who are very happy with the status quo. and very happy with the league staying in whatever little cubbyhole that a lot of us want to keep it in. But I enjoy the game of soccer so much that I want to see the league get better. I want to see the league grow as much as possible. Do I want my season tickets to go up? Preferably not, but that's another story. But even with my season tickets going up, like the quality of play that I've seen has gotten better. The engagement from my ownership has gotten better. The overall experiences that I get from the club is better. I mean, if anybody takes a look at our league and is unhappy with the fact that I'm honestly, again, just speaking as a Crew supporter and a Crew season ticket holder, what I have seen NFL teams give to their season ticket holders and what I get as a season ticket holder, I feel like we're spoiled sometimes. And that's the truth. We are given opportunities with the team, meet and greets and autographs and gifts from the team and all these great things that I have seen this team do since I became a straight out season ticket holder in 2021. All these things that they've given us, I have seen NFL teams that are worth 2, 3, 4 times as much as some of these teams. And let me actually give you a comparison here. So for this year, the year that just ended, for a season ticket gift, we got scarves, which we basically get every year, and then we were also given a backpack. Right. There's also been at least 3 to 4 meet and greets that they offer season ticket holders. And, I'm just going to include it just because I think that they didn't have to do it. When they moved the home game to Cleveland versus Inter Miami, for a lot of us season ticket holders, I think it was just Nordex season ticket holders, they actually gave us stadium credit for food, which was like $20, which $20 for free food, and also free parking. It's kind of become good kind of thing for the team. And you know what? I felt that was appropriate. Now, I think it might have been last year's season ticket, and I can't remember what team it was specifically. I have an idea in my brain, like I can see a logo, but I don't want to say it just in case I'm wrong. There was a team from the NFL who gave their season ticket holders a manila folder that had a lanyard, a magnet, and a calendar. And that was it. If something like that doesn't show that our league is working to integrate with its supporters on different levels than a hell of a lot of other sports, I don't know what does. Hell, a couple of years ago when we won MLS Cup in 2020, we were given championship rings. Just straight out given championship rings by the team. And when we won the MLS Cup in 2023, they sold us championship rings for $25. Actually, this is actually what they sold us. I think I have my other one upstairs in my office, but this is kind of sat by my little gaming rig here, and I can't be mad at that. $25 for something that would have cost a lot more than $25. So seeing the league make moves to become more prominent, seeing the league make these moves to become more international friendly, and seeing the league make these moves to become more competitive in the sport market, not just in the U.S., but overseas as well, is great to see. And I know I'm going to be some people's not favorite when I say this, but this is a good thing, and I'm happy for it. So, tell me what you guys think. Shift it down below. Feel free to tweet me on X at Aphrodite's Crush. Or if you actually like soccer and you want to go take a look at my supporter group and, I don't know, jump on the bandwagon at Shawshank SC on Twitter. Also on the Sky of Blue, same username, Shawshank SC. So, thank you guys for watching, for hanging out with me for 20 minutes talking about American soccer. But we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. You have a good one.